So, I'm gonna be honest. I'm not really sure how to describe this game if you've never seen it. Actually, you know what? How about this? Got it? Great. It's no secret that I'm a big fan of psychedelic looking games. I mean, I thought Children of the Sun looked pretty strange with how fever dreamish it felt. So when I saw a screenshot for this game, of course I thought I'd be ready to tackle whatever brain-rotted color scheme they threw at my retina. And man was I underestimating how bad it'd be. PostVoid is a retro first-person shooter game that values speed above all else, and I think you could classify it as a boomer shooter, but it feels so different from one that I'm not sure, and after my Ultra Kill video, I'm not sure I really want to get into that. A lot of boomer shooters like to really emphasize exploration and secrets to discover. PostVoid does the complete opposite. What you see is exactly what you get. I personally really like this since in a lot of games, like Ultra Kill for example, I'd want to go fast through the levels, but at the same time, the secrets that I missed or potential areas I didn't explore would be lingering in the back of my mind the whole time, making me feel guilty for beating the level unfinished. You could say something about how this significantly decreases PostVoid's replay value, and you'd be 100% correct. But I think this makes the initial playthrough a lot stronger. And it works really well for the game since it's so fast paced that looking for any secrets on top of trying to beat the level and stay alive would just feel like a chore. So unfortunately for you Easter egg hunters, the closest thing you're getting to a secret is stroking the music bar. One of the most impressive facts about this game is that it was created and published by only 3 people. It was created by YJCY Games, and to my knowledge, 2 of them were roommates that worked on games together, and they had another friend who'd help them with some of the music occasionally. The 2 main people who worked on it are Christopher Andreasson and Joseph Martinovsky. I think I got that right, so I'm sorry if I butchered that. They're both complete artists in their own right, being music composers, painters, and game devs, so it's really not surprising at all that the game looks as captivating as it does. It's kinda crazy how a game that moves so fast I can't even register what I'm seeing still manages to look so amazing, despite not even knowing what I'm looking at. Like seriously, I didn't even know what the enemies looked like until I looked at the trading cards for them on Steam. There really isn't a whole lot of story in this game. From the intro, you can gather that someone is stuck in a time and a place known as PostVoid, and he's trying to escape. But the forces of this void don't want him to. That's pretty much it, and I'll admit I was slightly disappointed since the art style was so interesting to me. I wish I got to see more cutscenes using it, but that doesn't really matter anyways since the main focus of this game is the gameplay. And man, the gameplay is definitely where it shines. Your goal is simple, just reach the end. That is simple, right? Well, actually it's not so simple. You're on a timer that's shown by the head in your hand slowly leaking a mysterious fluid, and when it takes damage, you leak even more, and when it's out, you're done. But don't worry, because killing things will give you more of this fluid. This creates a super interesting dynamic where you're constantly making decisions whether you should push to close extra distance towards the goal or kill everything in your path because you're running out of wacky slosh. When I was trying to beat this game the first time, I was having a really hard time because I was treating this like most other games where I felt compelled to kill everything I ran across, and that ultimately was my biggest flaw. While yes, killing things refills your timer, there's almost always an enemy around every corner. So if you see your timer is pretty high, you can just book it and hope A, you see something to kill before you run out, or B, hope that something doesn't kill you before you can refill. Although on the outside this game seems super unfair, it is actually more fair than you think. At first, the fast movements and enemies showing up seemingly out of thin air might overwhelm you, but once you adjust your brain to the flow of the game, it suddenly just starts making sense. This game actually speaks directly to the indomitable human spirit, since despite being thrown into complete and utter madness, with enough perseverance, you can overcome it. There's a total of 4 weapons in this game, and they can all one-shot most enemies with a headshot. So the challenge isn't exactly the enemies are hard to kill, it's just that they're hard to even comprehend. So after you lock in and understand what's going on, you can flow almost effortlessly through the levels. The 4 weapons also do a great job of changing how you play the game greatly. When you're first thrown in, you'll spawn in with a pistol. It's not the best gun, but it's honestly pretty solid up until Act 3. It's very accurate and has 6 shots, so if you hit all headshots, you can clear a room pretty quickly. The cracks in the armor start to appear though once the flesh wall is introduced. The flesh wall is the only neutral enemy in this game, but you have to kill it to advance usually, and it has a weak spot in the middle that will instantly kill it. If you don't hit it in the middle, you can easily waste a whole mag with the pistol just trying to get to the next area. Its main problem though is that it falls short once you're overwhelmed, which happens a lot in Act 3. It doesn't have the damage or mag size necessary for competing with the horde of enemies, so it's insanely easy to feel undermatched. The shotgun on the other hand can do a lot more to crowd manage, since you can kill multiple enemies with one bullet. Its main weakness though is that it only has 2 shots and reloads pretty slow, but both of these weaknesses can be lessened with upgrades. There are 4 weapon upgrades. You can increase your mag size, make enemies blow up on death, reload faster, or make your bullets bounce off of walls. The mag size and the reload time can stack, so by increasing the mag size on the shotgun and giving it a faster reload time, you can turn it effectively into a weapon of mass destruction and one-shot anything that looks at you funny. The upgrade system in this game effectively turns it into a roguelike as well. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention, when you die in this game, yeah, you start over from scratch, meaning you lose all of these upgrades. But wait, before you rage quit and click off the video, don't worry, because this entire game is only 11 levels, and if that still sounds like a lot, my fastest run was only 6 minutes. So it doesn't feel too devastating when you die since you're only set back a few minutes. And also, if you're thinking, wow, that's short, why should I even play it? Well, yes, a winning run only takes a few minutes. It's safe to say you'll spend a lot of your time not winning. It took me like 3 hours to get a winning run in this game, so it was kind of bittersweet looking at my end stats, seeing that it only took all of 5 minutes, and that I must have had dozens of attempts just to finish it and less time than it takes for my frozen pizza to cook. There's also 5 non-weapon upgrades in the game that can do wonders in assuring you don't die. There's the Big Idol, the Compass, Ghost, Serious Mode, and Slow Bullets. The Big Idol just lets your head hold more fluid, so you have a little bit of extra time. This can stack, but overall I don't think it's super useful since you can only gain about 1 second from it. The Compass is probably the most useless one, since once you get used to the flow of the game, you very quickly realize that you're basically just moving forward the entire time, so there's no need for a compass to point out the obvious direction of the ending. Ghost allows you to be less slowed down when touching enemies. This one can be life-saving against the Flamingo, which is basically just a mouth with legs, but if it catches you, it does massive damage. The biggest reason Ghost is so useful here is since these things can and will run up on you, if you ignore 1 or 2 and get swarmed, having a Ghost can be the difference between life or death. Next up is Serious Mode, which just lets you run faster backwards. I mean, it's okay I guess, but since you ideally always want to be making progress, and although it can help things like the Flamingo and the Telehan that try to swarm you, in the end I just don't like moving backwards a whole lot. Last, but certainly not least, is Slow Bullets. This one is a lifesaver. It does exactly what you think. It slows enemy bullets, giving you more time to react to enemy attacks. It helps immensely against the suits and crying mouths. The suits are, well, men in suits. The first couple acts they'll wear black suits, then in the third act they'll turn into white suits. They're both fairly similar, they just shoot a revolver at you, except the white suits are way more adept at dodging your bullets. The crying mouths are these eyes in the wall that are stationary, but they shoot a barrage of bullets your way, so Slow Bullets helps massively in defeating both of these guys. The other enemies, such as the Flamingo and the thing from the Addams family if it was hell-bent on bleaching your optical nerves, aren't really affected by this upgrade at all. This ability sounds good in any game, but in a game like this where it feels like even microseconds count, it's invaluable. And speaking of invaluable, I haven't even told you about the Holy SMG. This thing is crazy. It's just like the pistol where it one-shot headshots, but this is fully automatic and holds 20 rounds. So already by default this is great. But what if I told you that by upgrading your reload time and mag size, you could create a pocket Gatling gun? So remember what I said about learning the flow of the game and whatnot? Well, now you can just point in the general direction of anything you think is moving and say goodbye to it. Seriously, I can't stress enough how insane the SMG can get. I haven't even talked about what happens when you put rubber bullets on it either. It's objectively probably the best gun in the entire game. And speaking of, I know you're probably confused since I mentioned 4 weapons and I've only mentioned 3. And you probably think I left the best for last, right? Well, the 4th weapon is a knife. Okay, maybe I'm being a little too harsh on this thing. While yes, I don't think this weapon in general is better than the SMG or the shotgun, I think with the right strategy, it could also be the best. See, the thing with the knife is it has 2 modes of attacking. The regular left click that stabs people, and then holding it that does a big slash, one-shotting anything you can get close to. You lose the obvious benefit of range with this, but if your movement is on point and with the help of upgrades like slow bullets, you can make it work surprisingly well. Most enemies you'll see are on the way to the exit anyways, so it's really just a matter of closing the distance on your way there so you can slash them, and it can be really fun to use. Also, I'm not really sure how true this is, but I've heard that the world record for this game actually used a knife to do it, so that's kind of crazy to me. Long story short, if you ever wanted to do a line of coke and run around stabbing people like an average Birmingham resident, you should definitely check out this game. It's only like $3 and it is short, but I think the replayability comes from the different weapons and builds you can make with it. So I think it's worth the price 4 times over. Also, not to mention that once you beat the game, I'm pretty sure it becomes slightly harder. Like, I don't remember seeing crying mouths in the first level until after I beat the game. And then there's other things like a high score meter and a leaderboard so you can keep track and compete with your friends. I think there is a lot of fun to be had with this game, so definitely go check it out. And that's going to be all for PostVoid. If you liked the video, be sure to drop a like and subscribe to support the channel. This is my first video with the pop filter, so hopefully you can hear the difference. Also, I've been going live every now and then playing whatever game I'm working on stream. So if you see me live, don't be afraid to come say what's up. And anyways, yeah, that's pretty much it, and I'll see you guys in the next one.